Welcome, boys and squirrels, to the Northern Outcast Outdoors podcast, The Outcast, your home for all things hunting, fishing, and ball busting related. Powered by Citizens Hunting Co., A&F Custom Calls, and Out on a Limb Manufacturing.
Well, boys and squirrels, we're live.
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yes.
This is episode 11.
Exclamation point.
Season 2. This is the first time I've got the episode number right all season long.
Hold on, I got something on here for you.
Oh, yeah, guess what? I can't hear it. Good thing I don't have headphones.
It's the sad womp.
It was.
The belly womp.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, don't associate that with my name.
You're too late.
It was perfect.
Right.
Well, might as well kick off the finale with a little diddle here.
Whoa, what are we doing?
Little drinks in the air, sir.
Oh.
We fly with the crow.
Oh.
Oh,
Ooh, crispy.
That is terrible.
So,
that's about as bad as it gets.
this is the season finale. Everybody but me and Joe. I know Joe's sucking a little bit too.
Everybody's reaching for cheese.
Reaching for more
Yeah,
crow.
that wasn't great. We chased the crow right there. So
Can we throw that thing in the freezer?
I mean, you can.
Yeah, that'd be
It's the
great.
hard's way out, but
My vote's fire.
this is the season 2 finale. We made it. Dog sounds like it's going to throw up.
What?
What was that?
whatever he's going
I have no
with, it
idea.
didn't sound good.
He just likes to snort.
Sounded like some belly dragging a deer.
Come
throat.
on. I'm just a little out of shape. It's no big deal.
But we're here to talk about archery season, the year as a whole. We got Joe Seaburn with Whisper in the Wind here sitting in because, I mean, he's basically an outcast at this point.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure, gentlemen.
So if at some point the podcast just abruptly cuts off, it's because Joe was on the podcast.
or if it never airs, it was deleted for the second
Yeah,
time
Chucky's
this
turning
year.
knobs like furiously over here right now. It's making me
I'm
kinda
really
nervous.
trying
If
to
He's
give
giving,
someone unearths this podcast somewhere down the line and hears it,
he's giving this thing a titty twister over here, and it's like making me nervous.
That's because we have two condenser mics, and it's like everybody's kind of volume is spreading
That's why we
sporadically.
these.
So you got to talk into your mic, please.
Argument for another day.
no.
But anyway, there's some deers that died actually today. There's some deers that died over the last couple months. There's some deers that we thought were going to die but didn't die.
We're not going to talk about that.
We got a lot to unpack tonight. This is going to be there's a lot to unpack in this episode. There's a couple culprits here tonight.
Totally redeemed himself.
Which one?
Chucky redeemed himself quite a few times.
Chucky
I
did.
did not
He
redeem
is
myself.
Chucky the Redeemer.
Chucky redeemed himself with a camera that was never turned on, and then feverishly sent me Snapchats and other Marco Polos that said, "Sorry, Booer,"
Dude, I was good at that this
with
year.
no context whatsoever. But everybody knew what it was about.
I did really well at that this year.
I mean, who got the earliest action this year? It was you.
Yeah.
You want to go first? You wanted to go to show and tell first?
I mean, I think we talked about it. I don't really know, to be honest with you, but I shot a couple doe down in 2B early season, September.
Yeah.
Little early action on the ground.
Early.
Stalked them, walking in, real windy day. Got in there, shot the first one at like 25 yards. Smoked
This is the
it.
first year me and Jeff didn't do that.
Dude, it's so much fun down there.
It really is.
It is a blast. This is the first year that I didn't hunt 2B either.
That game lands down there is pretty big.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
For
really-
around here, it's really big.
It's really nice down there too. I mean, as long as you can keep away from people, you're doing fine. Like that's the thing. I mean, as long as you're staying away from other people, and I know a couple spots in there where you can pretty much have it to yourself.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
And with that being said, I mean, you find that spot, you're going to see a lot of deer. So, I mean, I think
I've squirrel hunted there, but I've never deer hunted there.
a lot of people run dogs there. Like a lot of people.
They stalk pheasants there, but
The one year me and Jeff were down there, we were coming through, and the dude that was running the brush hog on the main trail, like, came up through, and we were like, oh, this is kind of stupid. We're probably not going to see anything. We kept walking down, and then we saw some sign, and there was bear tracks crossing the trail down there. So we're like, oh my God, there's bears.
somebody
there.
shot a bear there 2 years ago, I think.
Well, we were sitting not far from where that was the very next day, and we heard something come crashing down through the woods. And I turned around and just saw like a black blur coming through the weeds. I go, holy shit, there's a bear coming at us. I turned around and it was this big black lab and this lady in like freaking leggings coming down the hill, like just walking straight to the middle of the game lands. I'm like, the fuck are you doing? Like, you realize, and she's like, are you guys hunting? Because I like stood up, I was like, yo, we're like, you know, like what the hell? She's like yelling like real crazy. She's like, "Are you guys hunting down here? Seriously?" I'm like, "You are on a state game lands, lady."
I've never had bad experience down there with people.
That was the only
honest.
one I had.
No, I've never had bad experience there. It's just
And it wasn't
usually
necessarily
you
a bad
can't go there unless you're going to see people.
Yeah. What is going on over there? Just
Trying to
pick the
eat.
whole bowl of food up, please. This is already fucking this shit.
Figure it out, Sabelli. Let's go.
It's alright, Jax. It's not your fault. We just ate a whole Thanksgiving dinner in front of him, and the poor dog can't even have his dry dog food.
Nope.
Way to go, Sabelli, you jerk.
I'm going home.
I'm gonna come.
We're going to leave that with zero context as well.
Bing bong.
Alright, that's pretty much it. I shot 2 deer from the ground in
Yeah.
September. That was
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the early action was still you, though. I mean, I didn't have
That's
much
true.
to say till
Okay,
November.
And then I shot a doe up in Mercer County. That dog's relentless. Mercer County, I shot another doe. That was like first week of the regular season, I think. And then pretty much went on a cold spell until end of October.
I mean, we kind of got out a couple days there. What weekend did we have? It was Halloween weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Halloween weekend.
Yeah, we made it up in Mercer there a couple days.
My favorite weekend up there.
Well, we went and hung that trail camera and went on a little adventure. What was that? Mid-October?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys did your
Yeah, it was like
ground and
mid-October.
pound.
Oh, no, we did that too. I forgot about that.
That was the same weekend.
Yeah, it was all Halloween
That was a
weekend.
Friday.
Yeah, because I remember I'd taken a day off of work. It was like Friday
Yeah.
we did that. And then Saturday we went and hung not far from there
At the old creek crossing.
at the creek crossing. And then what happened after that? You kind of went on your own adventure. I was trying to figure out my bow situation.
Yeah, so before that, I hit that first buck. That was October, like 25th, I think it was.
Well, you might as well talk about it. You brought it up now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the pain's kind of gone away now, knowing what I know now. But yeah, I mean, basically put up a trail camera. 9 days later, pulled the cards and brought the quad in to put them up. Brought the quad in to pull them down. There was a buck on there, like 2 out of 3 nights daylighting between 6 and 6:30 in the afternoon. Okay, perfect. Same wind. Looked it up on Wonderground. Got the wind. Got everything. Like, okay, this is exactly the same. I'm going in tonight. Went in, because I pulled them on Sunday, so I went in Monday night and basically didn't see him. There was a big 4-point came through from the other direction. And then it was like Tuesday night, and I was going to go play softball or do whatever, and I had to go to work, and some of the other guys were just like, no, you're not going to do that. You're going hunting. Like, you have to. Why would you not? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's, it's not the greatest conditions. Then I started looking. I'm like, pretty much exactly the same. Might as well try it again. Left my stuff in there the night before, so I went back in, climbed up the tree, and sure enough, I think it was like 6:17, popped out up on the trail, probably 100 yards away. And I'd looked in the binocs. All I could see was just rack. I'm like, oh boy. And he just started coming towards me. And I'm like, here we go. Got everything ready. Got the GoPro turned on. That time I actually remembered. Go figure. And
Yeah, that's still a sore subject for Daddy here, but continue.
got the GoPro on and got around the tree. And I mean, it's 18 yards to the trail. I know everything. I mean, I'm ready. Know when I'm going to draw and everything. He comes right down the trail. I draw back. He hesitates maybe 20 seconds, walks right out. I'm on him. I'm like, yeah, I'll just let him stop on his own. Well, he took like 3 steps towards me and basically quartered directly at me. I'm going to take the frontal shot. He pulled his head up and looked right at me. I mean, I'm basically eye level with him, 18 yards at that point, because I'm way down the hill, probably almost 30 feet up in the tree, and he's at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
And he's looking like, he literally snapped right at me, and I'm like, fuck it, send it. And when I shot, all I could see was that red nocturnal just going right. Like, out of my eyesight, right, hit him, smacked him right in the back leg, and he did that high, crazy kick and ran off, crashed down over the hill, hit the bottom, and just kind of trotted off. And I'm like, ugh. Tracked him like 120 yards that night, said if he ain't dead within 120 yards, thinking I hit him in the shoulder at first.
Yeah.
Even though knowing in the back of my head when I shot that arrow, it went right. I know it went right. I saw it. And the deer was moving right to left, so I knew that exposed leg was there, and that's probably the noise and everything that no blood at all, like very, very little blood.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man. So we backed out, came in the next morning with a dog, jumped the deer, tracked him like 800 yards, never found him. Thankfully, the deer's fine. It was like 2 nights ago now.
Fast forward.
Yeah, I mean, we're December
A month and a
3rd
half.
right now, and I think December 1st, we had him on camera walking out.
Is that what it was?
Well, I've had him on the camera like 5 times.
Oh, I didn't
Since
know
then.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time I had him on camera since I shot him was the night before I shot the other buck on that property.
Gotcha.
The one that I actually killed.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that because it was on Joe's camera, not mine.
Oh, okay.
So when I woke him up calling him on the video, even though he didn't answer, thanks, Joe. He made me look like an idiot on camera. So Belly still makes fun of me over that. I don't know why.
About which?
About Jim, my brother, not answering my phone call to him.
That was a funny one.
Your
That's
call
good.
has been forwarded.
Yeah, I'm like, son of a
It was
bitch.
like every other scene in that video. Your offhand had your phone and it was calling somebody, and in not one scene did somebody pick up. And I was like, man, somebody really just doesn't
Till
want
I
to pick up.
accidentally called Booer, and he answered. He did. I did not accidentally call. I called you because I was like, Booer, what are you doing, bud? You want to come film a recovery? Is what I was thinking, even though I didn't have the shot or anything because the deer had come in so quickly. I didn't even think about turning the camera on that was hanging. I hung it like way up over my head.
So the joke right now, well, not even the joke, just the facts, is Chuck's had like 47 deer and the camera literally physically with him and hasn't gotten a single one on camera.
Yeah, it's not easy self-filming deer hunts.
I'm not
It's
even talking about yours. This is including other people you were with. You nitwit.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I'm never.
Sometimes, not tonight. Let's just go back to thanking Booer for a beautiful meal tonight, huh? Huh?
This was a fantastic
This was
piece.
just an
Yeah.
unbelievable experience.
Just
Flattery
unreal.
might get you somewhere sometimes. Not with this. You're not escaping.
I mean, the
Yeah.
crow definitely does knock everything down at least 2 notches, but
I feel like my voice is very hoarse.
well, that's the crow.
Since drinking the
Crows,
crow.
That's the crow.
The
terrible,
crow's just
but-
the troll tool you got to pay when you come around me.
We know.
And to be completely fair, Joe's the one that brought the crow, not even me.
I brought the crow.
You're a terrible person,
Joe
Joe.
do be bringing the crow.
I always
crows-
bring the crow.
The crow spoke to us early today, so
The crow spoke to us right off the bat.
yeah, Joe actually just
It was a sign.
it was mandatory that the crow was brought.
This is kind of like our turkey experience in a way.
A little bit, yeah.
Not as influential or as positive an outcome.
Well, I mean, there wasn't really a positive outcome with the turkey either, though, to be
There
completely
was. You
fair.
killed a fucking giant. What do you mean?
Which one are you talking about?
The one that the crow caught. And
Oh, that one,
Yeah.
yes. Well, never mind. I won't elaborate any further.
Okay, yeah, the other
Could
one.
be
All right,
multiple
we're going
felonies
yeah,
reported.
we're not going into turkey season anymore.
Speaking of felonies,
So, anyways,
Anyway,
yeah, I had just a random morning, Monday morning. I went out, sat in a random ladder stand that we haven't on in like 2.5 years because it's deadly dangerous, and grunted in a buck. I actually snort wheezed him in, which was badass. Grunted at him twice. Train was coming through, so he couldn't really hear me. And then I snort wheezed him, and he come right in, stopped 35 yards, Pop-Tart out on a limb beside me.
you can sort of see this hunt.
Yeah.
Sort of
So the problem is,
live vicariously through this hunt on YouTube.
yeah, it's there, except for the shot. The problem was I just got in the tree. Like, I just got everything up. Literally, I had my Pop-Tart sitting on the limb beside me.
Pop-Tart
in the
keeps-
wrapper. And
the Pop-Tart's in the new intro, I might add, by the way.
great.
You're
And
welcome.
I'm like, I put the camera up over top of my shoulder because the tree had grown in so much. My only lane was really like out in front of me.
Yeah.
And even if I had it on, you probably would have seen him because it's a wide angle. But he was actually, I shot him through this little hole to my left, through the tree branches, like a little hole at 35 yards. He would have looked like a freaking little tiny thing probably on that camera. But
Poor cat, I could have punched in a little bit. Give me some credit.
I just didn't, I didn't think about reaching up. I mean, I was in panic mode because he couldn't hear me as I was grunting at him and he's running away and I'm thinking this deer's huge and I'm like, holy shit, like he's running away from me. And I'm grunting as loud as I possibly can. He's not hearing me. It was hectic as all hell. And then as he's coming in, I'm like, do I stand up or do I stay sitting down? Because if you stand up, then the tree stand like comes apart and makes a noise. So I'm like, I gotta stay seated because if I stand up, I'm gonna make a noise and I'm gonna blow it. And I'm glad I did stay seated because then I had that hole to the left where if I would have stood up, I probably wouldn't have been able to shoot him.
Yeah.
So I just didn't think of it. The camera was back behind me. I would have had and I had plenty of time to do it because when he came in, I mean, he was behind Pine Tree the whole time, basically.
Yeah.
The branches coming in and yeah, that's my bad, dude.
And we talk about that like quite a bit. Actually, whenever we were talking about the Oklahoma hunt, when we were saying about how I went down with the camera, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard to do both and make it both good. Like
Mhm.
it's hard to have a good hunt, and
It really is. People don't understand how hard it is.
yeah, I mean those dudes. I give Airs Outdoors a lot of credit because they only self-film, it seems like, all their videos, and they seem to get it. Granted, I don't know what's up with the deers that they're shooting because they like just don't give a shit. But at any of the times that, you know, it's been
Yeah.
going on for me, it's a lot harder than people make it seem. And it's hard to make a compelling video, you know, whenever you're doing it yourself.
I mean,
with deer especially.
I'll admit, at my Ohio buck I shot, I didn't have the camera on me at all. We packed for that, and it got so chaotic because everything was last minute.
Yeah, because you were going with your family.
Yeah, that's part of it. And I was
I
supposed
know how
to be,
you all go.
but we were supposed
I've
to
been around
leave at
you
a
and Joe,
certain
you know.
time, and we left like 3 or 4 hours later. And I'm like, well, what the hell did I panic for and get all rushed? And I didn't even bring my camera. I was just like, forget it.
You didn't bring. Well, this is news to me.
Yeah, I didn't even bring them.
Oh, the truth comes out now.
Yeah, didn't even bring them.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not true. It's not true.
You discussed me.
I had the big camera. I did not have my GoPro because I gave you yours back.
Yeah.
And I gave yours back, and I had the GoPro out there, and I was like, I don't feel like messing with this thing, and I just left it. But I did have the big camera and the mount and everything. I just honestly didn't want to screw with it.
Well, you guys cleaned up in Ohio. You guys absolutely cleaned up in Ohio.
This is the best year we've ever had out
Sam
there.
got the biggest 6-point I've ever seen in my entire life.
It was like 105-inch 6-point,
That deer is
Insane.
ridiculous.
22-inch beams or
It was a
something.
freaking mule. It was a mule with it. It was old too. It looked old in the
Big
pictures
old,
I got.
big old.
Big white face.
Yeah,
The head was huge.
yeah. And those are legal in Ohio. There's
Yes.
no point restriction.
Yeah.
So you can shoot big 6 points in Ohio.
I know.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
That might have been where we were at.
A little confusion. Yeah, I don't know. But
Ah!
Sam struck first. He shot that first hunting day of the trip. We got there Friday night in the rain and bullshit. And I think it was Saturday afternoon he shot that one. And then Sunday morning, I want to say, or Sunday evening, Russ shot his. And then he shot a real nice one too. It was like 9-point or something. It was like
It
120
wasn't
some
a
inches.
small deer.
No, it was a really nice deer. And it grew real funky. Like it had a split G2, like a mule deer. And it grew like real wide, weird.
Yeah.
And then
The
mine
one Sam
came
that
in.
got in Pennsylvania was weirdly wide too. And
Dude,
low.
that deer was
It was a
freaking.
freak.
That was a brute.
Yeah, that deer
A
was
brute
a
of a buck, which was awesome. That was right before our trip too, so that worked out great.
Yeah, it was like, what, the day before?
Couple days, yeah.
Yeah,
He
same
shot those
week.
two deer like real close together. Mine between the one I shot in PA and Ohio were like 8 days apart. And that thing, I was walking in that morning and literally I'm just like kind of slept in a little bit, but knew that I didn't know exactly where to go, and I didn't want to go in there in the dark and blow deer out because it's all like oak trees
Yeah.
and feed trees. And I'm like, if they're going to be in there, they're going to be in there. So I'm going to walk in, get the wind in my face, see what I see, and then decide if I sit up here or if I sit up on the backside. And as I'm walking in, there's freaking a deer just cruising the hillside, like right beside me. As I'm walking this ridge, he's on the ridge beside me, just cutting it right in half. I'm like, oh shit, okay. So I'm like, well, that's a good sign. And he wasn't a shooter, but it was a nice 8-point, respectable 8-point. And he kind of came through. And
So
then,
he was a shooter.
He was a shooter.
He was
no,
a shooter.
he wasn't a shooter.
No, he was a shooter.
You just said respectable, but now he's on a
He was not. For me, I wasn't going to shoot that deer.
So you're saying we would have shot him, but
I'm saying other people would have probably liked to have that deer, but not me, okay? It was smaller than the deer I shot in PA.
finally we're getting
Okay.
picky now.
Yeah, here we go.
We're trophy hunters.
It's Ohio. Come on, man. Don't you know there's giants? Which we never see. But, so I see that. I'm like, all right, that's awesome. I go 40 more yards, and I look, and then all of a sudden the woods just exploded from that hill. Like 4 doe come flying out. Little bucks just chasing them.
Yeah.
All over. Like just back. And all of a sudden I'm standing there like taking it all in. I'm like, this is cool shit. Like 120 yards away from this other ridge. Stand up against a tree, and this doe, don't you know, middle getting chased, puts the brakes on
Oh, my
and
God.
fuck stares right at me. I'm not wearing orange. I'm literally, I mean, it's an open ridge, but I'm 120 yards away standing there not making an absolute fucking movement. And she stops and starts staring at me and starts blowing and stomping at me. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, just get chased. All the other deer have no clue what's going on. She's the only one that busted me. So she bounds up, keeps snorting. All the deer, what the fuck? And then finally the little bucks got impatient. They start chasing them around again.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, that's cool. And then eventually they ran off, and the other one cut in front of me. And honestly, I think it was that same 8-point. And I will say there was an arrow on my rest. Okay?
So we're back to he was a shooter.
It was respectable. AWAS.
Listen, under those
He was just a respectable
circumstances,
8, but I was knocked up, ready to go.
I was knocked up, locked up, baby. And if he would have come in those circumstances, I was pretty fired up. But he didn't. He walked into the pine thicket, and I'm like, all right. So I went over right where they were chasing does around. It was like a bunch of little briar patches.
Yeah.
And it's an open ridge, but it makes it feel thick from the ground. I climbed right in the middle of it, thinking, all right, one of these deer have to be in heat.
Yeah.
Sure enough, it was like an hour later. I'm on my phone, dicking around, per usual. And I hear, chun, chun, chun. I look up, and he's just coming. Zombie mode. Right at me. Like, cutting from dead straight in front of me, right at me the whole way.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And I look at the deer, and I can see his left side. And I'm like, that's a really nice buck. And then he turned, and I could just see that, like, frame.
Yeah.
Because he's wide. And I'm like, oh, shit, that's a good buck. And grabbed my bow, got ready, and he's coming. I mean, he's closing the distance. He got to, like, 30 yards. I'm like, okay, it's 30 yards. He's about to be 25. No, he's still coming at me. Turns literally right at me. Okay, he goes behind a tree at 20. I'm like, I'm drawing. I got to draw. So I drew back. Never knew it. I'm on him, and he's coming the whole way in. Right at me. He gets literally to 10 yards to my left, and he's still just boom, 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 boom. Zombie mode. Like, has no clue I'm there.
Yeah.
And I'm on him, and I didn't stop him because he was so close that I've seen it too many times. People try to stop him, and they just freak out and, like, bound off.
Yeah.
And he's in the last little bit I can shoot him. So I'm on him, just fuck it. Right on the shoulder, let it go. And when I shot again, dude, I swear it hit low and back. And I'm like, oh my God, no way in hell that just happened again. And I'm like, oh. Now, mind you, I just got a new string put on. I skipped that part in the story. Like, day one of the trip, I look down and my string is shredded. There's like 2 strands holding it together. So I get some guy in Bodunk, Ohio to build me a string on Saturday night. He had it done by Sunday morning for me.
Yikes.
My bow wasn't shooting that great afterwards, but I had it dialed in.
Hearing this right now.
I dialed it in at the range.
It's funny how these parts come out
There's a
later.
reason that we haven't heard of, sure.
I dialed it in at the range and got it close enough, but like normally I have it was a 3-pin slider, right? My bottom pin I have on 45 yards, and it's 25, 35, 45.
Yeah.
For my 25 to be good, I was okay. It was a little low. For my 35 to be good, I had to be on like 52 yards with my 3rd pin.
These are not warm and fuzzy numbers that you're throwing out there.
No, wasn't good. So I can only shoot 35 and in. That's what I'm telling you.
What?
And it's still hitting a little low. So anyways, I mean, I just think he was walking faster than I thought when I let it go. And I hit him,
with that.
and he took
We'll
a bound and just stopped. Like he had no clue what even hit him. And I'm fumbling for an arrow to my right. And I get it out from my stupid fucking quiver, pull it out, and I get on, and now he bounds like 3 more times, and he's at like 30 yards standing there. And I'm swinging around on my death diaper, right?
Death diaper now. You're cut off. Where's the button?
This is the end.
Oh wow, look who it is.
You
It's
know
really
it.
nice of you to join the conversation.
Death diaper.
But I did. I swung around, and I'm trying to shoot him, and I'm like between 2 trees, and there's just branches everywhere. And I'm like, fuck it. If it goes through and it's a miracle shot, I'm going to get another arrow in him. But the initial shot didn't look good. And I shot, and it just deflected last second. Missed him by like this much. When I got down, my arrow was literally 4 inches from the blood trail. Like there was blood, and then my arrow was sitting in the ground.
Did he keep your first arrow?
No, zipped right through him.
Oh,
Boom,
okay.
right through him.
Yeah.
But like low and back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm in the ribs, but I'm back. Like the last 2 ribs. And he bounds off to 80 yards, and he stood there for 10 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
Stood there. Never made a move.
Jeff would have shot again.
Oh, I tried.
Give one of them legless.
I got another
long
arrow
bows.
on. I'm loosening my rope to swing the whole way around the tree to try to get an opening, and I can't make an opening.
Yeah.
Plus, go figure, I have no idea what my yardages are
Yeah,
now.
that's true too.
Because at 45, I'm at 52.
yeah, that's
So what is 83 going to be? 96?
I'll be honest with you, that's ballsy. I mean, obviously, you said you were good at 25.
Yeah, I was good. 25,
Yeah.
35.
Yeah.
I was good. But I knew I couldn't go any farther than that.
Yeah, that's
But I was trying.
control.
I was going to put an 80-yard
No, I
shot
mean, you got
on
to
him.
do what you got to
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
no doubt.
Like, he's standing there. I can see the blood coming out. I can see the hole.
Yeah.
but he was quartering away from me when I was looking at the hole. So I thought the hole was farther forward than it was initially.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's right there. Like, this deer's just standing there. He's pumping blood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, go down. No, he just slowly walks up over the hill. Every like 2 or 3, he'll flick his tail. Go a couple, 3 more, flick his tail. Stop. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So we left. I backed out. Came back in like 2.5 hours later, and that bad storm was coming in. Down. Everybody else got snow. We got rain.
Yeah, we got snow because I was in the woods when you were sending all this to me in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we got rain. We didn't get snow down here.
Yeah, we
I
got.
guess I am a little further north than all of you.
My
Right.
place
It was
didn't
like
get
a
snow.
weird cutoff where most of the people in the state got snow. We got mostly rain.
Yeah.
So we went in after like 2.5 hours and jumped the deer. We could still smell him where his bed was. And
Yeah.
from where I hit him to where he bedded, dude, it was the most horrific amount of blood that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, it was unreal.
See, when you were texting me that, I was like, that deer's dead.
Yeah.
Like, you just need to find it.
And it had to be all liver just pumping.
Oh, without a doubt.
But that first big giant, like,
The fact that you got to
frothy,
pass through is what
Yeah.
saved you. No doubt.
well, yeah, I mean, I basically, so what happened was I came in just in front of the diaphragm, punched through, caught the back, clipped the back end of the lungs, went through the diaphragm and 10 ringed the other side of the liver.
Yeah.
And so we jumped them. All that rain came in. We left them 24 hours, 10 a.m. next day. Called the same guy that helped me track the buck from Pennsylvania.
Poor bastard.
So I had a guy from
It's like,
Ohio.
this guy.
I had a guy from Ohio lined up, but his dog, this was his first year. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I really don't want a rookie dog on this job. Like, I want this buck. I'm like fuming at myself at this point for blowing an 8-yard shot, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to find this fucking deer. I'm not leaving it risk to some guy that's going to charge me $150 and he has a first year dog.
Yeah.
I know what my girl Lucy can do because I've seen her in action.
First name basis.
Oh yeah, she's my number one homie right now. And on a
no
whim,
willow.
9 p.m. that night, I'm talking to the guys. I'm like, man, I really want that dog I had on my other deer up here. And why don't you just text him? You know, I mean, he is in Boone Township. I said, it's not that far.
Yeah.
So I text him. He's like, oh yeah, I go up there all the time. He's like, I know the place real well. Where do you want me to meet you in the morning? I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like,
Yeah.
let's go. He met me there in the morning. We brought her up. She had a little bit of trouble now. It was a little windy, and I've talked to some of my other buddies that track dogs for a living, and they said, you know, a lot of times when you have wind, it'll actually move that scent trail off the direct path.
Yeah.
And you could tell the dog wasn't directly on the blood. Like, that much blood, and the next day, the only blood we were finding is whenever you kick the leaves up, and it was the stuff that was underneath. Like, that's how much got washed away. Completely gone.
I believe it. I mean, it was a lot of
It was bad.
precipitation, for sure.
It rained for like 8 to 10 hours.
Oh, without a doubt.
And I'm like, son of a bitch.
I think that was when they were saying we were going to get like 6 to 8 inches of rain or something insane like that.
Yeah, and luckily we didn't get the heavy stuff
Yeah.
down there. We just got a bunch of light rain, but we did get some heavy rain. And dude, she struggled at first, but she was on it. And we also kind of muddied the trail up because I had been on it a little bit trying to track it.
Yeah.
Once she hit the bed and she got on his track, she was like, because we didn't go past that point once I
Yeah.
jumped him. She was on it, and she was just nose to the ground going, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
I was getting a little nervous because we were like,
Yeah.
we were kind of jumping on and again, I think it had something to do with the wind blowing the scent around because she was jumping on and off the trail,
I'm sure.
but we were downwind from that deer the whole time where he was laying dead,
Yeah.
and she tracked past it. And when she got past it, she jumped up on a log and put her head way up in the air, and she just stood there for like 5 minutes and nobody said a word. And I was like, dude, I was like losing it inside. I'm like, oh God, no.
Yeah.
I've never seen this. Like, what do we do? I started panicking a little bit, and he's like, all right. He's like, I don't think she's on the track anymore, but we're downwind, and this looks like an area where a deer would die.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to take her back up, and I'll see if she picks it up. And as she's walking back, she went to the same spot she went into before, which was like a fallen down tree with a big thorn bush on it. And she kept like diving into it. Like she wanted to get through to the other side. And I'm like, that's weird behavior. What does she smell? Because the wind's blowing from that direction.
Yeah.
So they keep working up, and I'm just kind of walking, looking. And I look up, and I see something brown laying up there. I'm like, you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
I was like, that looks like a deer's ass. Took like 2 steps, and I see its head was like buried, and its nose was sticking straight up in the air. And I'm looking, I'm like, that's a fucking deer laying right there. But you can't see antlers. They're
Yeah.
buried in the ground. So I'm like, there he is, boys. He's right up here. And I just start fucking running. And then I realized it was him.
It stands up and gores you.
No, he was dead as hell. He died a long time before we found him.
Yeah.
He'd been there.
Probably
Probably.
if the blood is pouring out of an animal,
Yeah.
like the way you described it, without a doubt.
And yeah, he probably was dead within an hour from when we left him the first time we bumped him. Like he'd been dead a long, long time.
Oh, for sure.
But coyotes didn't eat him. Nothing got to him. I mean, he was good. It was like 18 degrees that night, I think.
Yeah.
And my girl Lucy brought us right to him.
That's all's well that ends well right there.
That's
I mean,
it.
redemption.
It was beautiful. Big 8-pointer. Big wide 8-pointer. I think he was 18 and a half inside.
There's pictures of it all over Instagram,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yep. Yeah. And then I shot another doe with my gun for some stupid reason and packed it out.
Spell, you've been awfully quiet over there.
Sabelli hasn't contributed much to this conversation.
I'm barely trailing on turkey and crow right now. I'm just trying to stay upright at the.
That's the only thing that wore you out today.
We should hear a little bit about first-time archery hunting.
Oh, please, God.
Oh, good call.
Everybody got to hear first-time
Change the
turkey
pace.
hunting, and
I disagree.
It's very fitting that Seaburn is here, too.
I disagree.
Change
Well, you guys finally big-bodied me into going out and getting some big boy toys and getting my bow and getting a little setup going.
Meanwhile, he waited until October 15th.
Yeah, it was at least
to
halfway
get a
through the
bow.
season, yeah. But I was finally like, yeah, you won't tell me to do it. I'll go do it. And then Chucky was like, yeah, just go get it. And I was like, okay, cool. So I went out and got a bow. Nothing really crazy happened during archery. I mean, I did get to draw back twice on deer. Neither were successful, of course. They were both does. I wasn't in any sort of tree situations just because I'm a height scaredy cat currently, and I'm still not like used to being in tree stands. So I mostly just, ground blinds.
I mean, you can call it what it is.
Getting. I'll pretend you didn't say that. Keep going.
What is that?
Just elevation.
What is
Just
that,
finding
Joe?
some
Scared, go to
elevated
church.
points.
Scared, go to church.
But yeah, I had one really good opportunity, and I got too horned up and just drew way too early before the deer even got anywhere near the lane that I wanted it to. And I held as long as I could, and I was like, all right, I got to back out of this. And then finally when I did, she was like, the fuck's that up there? And then that was the end. So nothing too crazy exciting for archery. I mean, I got my toes wet a little bit. We still got late archery later on, I still think, right? There's a period.
We
Yeah.
We do.
I'm going to sneak back out into the wilderness for that.
Are you?
Why not?
Oh.
How many more tags you got left?
Oh, I got plenty, bud. Unfortunately, my
It's got off.
How many have you filled this year?
my eyes are bigger than my stomach, unfortunately. I've got plenty of them. It's just actually filling them's the issue, so we'll see. But late season.
So you still have all of them left.
Oh, yeah, I got every single one of them. Yeah, they're wrapped up somewhere in a car.
Seaburn, you're here. We're not letting you get off the hook. You kind of had
Rocky?
There's
and
no
unfortunately-
there's no rocky to it. It's rock bottom. Is the
Yeah,
only
Joe,
part of
let's
it.
talk about your experiences, huh? Let's talk.
I've had one of the worst
the
all around seasons that I've had in a while, and I blame
worst
work
part about
for
you
it,
and
but-
him is exactly what I went through alone last year.
Oh yeah. So we started off I didn't even really archery hunt until mid-October. I was kind of lazy working and not really putting in the time and effort. I think the first time I really went out was that early muzzleloader season when we had that 20-degree cold front come
it's
through.
beautiful.
And I actually had 2 or 3 doe step out into a field, and then I had a little 4-point chasing them around. And turns out the 4-point chased one of the pretty big doe right in front of me. And I got ready, cocked the muzzleloader back, and fired. And I mean, you guys know when you shoot a muzzleloader, all that smoke blows up, so you can't really see what's going on. Well, I waited like 30 seconds, and I could
If
hear
it goes
like,
off.
yeah, that's true too. I could hear the thrashing in the corn, and I was like, oh, that's cool. It's a wrap. Get up and go see what's going on. I get up, I stand up, I see the deer laying dead 30 yards from me in the field. Not moving, nothing. And I parked my truck on the other side of the field. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go grab the truck. I'll come back, gut her out, and throw her in the truck and head back to the house. Call her a day. I wasn't gone for 2 minutes. And I come back to where that deer was laying.
Cue
And
the X-Files theme.
that deer is no longer there. And there
A
was...
crop circle in its
I was
place.
in the middle of a cornfield, so it had to run 100 yards any direction to go back to the woods. And there's no blood, no deer, no nothing. So I, to this day, do not know what happened with that deer and have not figured
It's
it out
listening to this
since.
podcast
It
as
might-
we speak.
It might be a
Laughing.
subscriber.
Sitting there drinking some crow.
The percussion of the 50 cal knocked it over.
But yeah, I do not know what happened with that deer and haven't figured it out. And then
No hair, no blood, nothing.
no hair, no blood, nothing. That deer was 100% laying there motionless
It's
as
like
I
one of those
walked past
fainting
it.
goats.
Yeah,
Just was-
it might have been. Might have just fainted, and then when I played dead and waited for me to walk away until
These deer are getting smart, dude.
I know. But then
Ow.
got to the rut when I was really starting to see some buck move around, and I'm still working like crazy at this point and trying to pick and choose my days to get out. I got out at I think it was November 12th, maybe. I don't know, something like that.
I think it was the first weekend because I think me and Sibeli were in Ohio that weekend, weren't we? When that happened?
No, I don't
No,
know.
when it happened, no, I was with my buddy driving to to Clearfield.
Okay.
Yeah, so-
Yeah, it was the second week.
I wasn't up in a tree for 20 minutes, and I looked to my left and I saw antlers coming, and I was like, I can definitely see the antlers. That's a nice buck. And I made sure to count the points as it was approaching.
Yeah.
And
You saw at least 3 up.
there's a lot of inside jokes going on right now, but I made sure to count points. And like you talked about earlier, it was just zombie mode. Just
Mhm.
it came down the trail exactly how it was supposed to come down. Walked 20 yards in front of me on the trail. Did a little rub, messing around before it got into my window. I drew back. Like you said, still zombie mode. I stopped it, squeezed off, and I don't know what happened from there. The next thing I knew, that deer spun and turned, and I could see the arrow still sticking out of it right behind the shoulder blade, and watched it run off into the abyss. I gave it 4 or 5 hours, backed out, came back, got to where I shot it at, hair, blood, got about 80 yards where I could stop seeing it again, or where I lost sight of it. Blood everywhere. Tracked that for 150, 200 yards, and then it stopped. I had my Onyx tracker going, and over the next 4 or 5 days before we really got that downpour and washed all the blood away, I think I totaled 22 miles walking back and forth,
Unreal.
checking
That's
that
crazy.
property.
I know your dad was back there with
My
you,
dad
too.
was back there. My mom, my wife, my grandpap. We were all just gritting, moving around, and I don't know why I didn't get full penetration to begin with. And then on top of that,
What you just said right there about how many miles and how many people you had, I mean, just the people listening, it's like, we don't take this shit lightly
oh, absolutely not.
when this goes down. Bad things happen, and that's, the game we play.
Yeah.
The exact same thing happened. I mean, Sibeli came out and helped me last year with mine. I mean, how many hours were we out there and how many miles did we
We
cover?
were out there for a while.
I
Multiple
spent
people.
a lot of time looking for this deer, and after walking all those miles, I probably have 10 to 15 cameras out right now trying to see if I can verify if it's still alive
Yeah.
or made it or not, but no intel on that end yet.
From what you described, where you hit that deer and everything, and obviously had a pretty good look at it, and you saw him run away with the deer and everything, we were all very confident that deer was dead.
All of us.
I was
like,
very
that deer's
nervous.
dead.
I was a nervous confident. But
Which you always are. If you don't see the deer
Yeah.
go down,
The,
you're going to
the
be
way you
nervous.
described it was exactly how the deer I got a couple years ago. The same thing. Kept my arrow, caught opposite shoulder, hit both lungs, everything going through.
yeah,
And
that's
he
exactly what I
ran like a
thought
motherfucker. And as soon as you described it, I was like, oh man, that's exactly how to me that deer's done, without a doubt.
Yeah,
What's
we
crazy-
all were confident.
I just watched one of the THP episodes that they released,
Yeah.
and Zach Fehrenbaugh literally shot this buck from the ground, blasted him right through his shoulder. Same thing from the ground. They tracked him forever, never found him. Some guy 3 weeks later, shot the deer, skinned him out. He hit him through the scapula, perfect. Literally showed the hole through the scapula on this deer where you hit him. You hit him through that, you're in everything.
yeah.
Everything.
And that's what I was
And the
pretty
deer
confident
lived.
I hit. I was pretty confident that I stopped on the opposite brisket.
Yeah.
And you would have thought catching at least one lung.
At that range, too.
Yeah, it was
The
close.
force of that arrow.
I would have
the-
thought it would have blew through, and it
Yeah,
didn't.
your arrow still has a lot of ass behind it at that range. It's not
Yeah.
at a 40 yard
No, it definitely wasn't like I was dropping it in at 40 yards.
No.
It was
Right.
a close shot.
And to anybody that hasn't gone through it, pray you don't ever go through it. But it's
Not good.
tell you that is the game you play, and that's kind of what makes it what it is. And it's high risk. You got to put the hours in, and when it happens, you'll lose some sleep if it really means something to you, without a doubt.
I didn't sleep or eat for 2 days.
Yeah.
I was sick to my stomach, and quite frankly, I was like, that's prime time right there. That second week or first week in November, and I think this mid first week of rifle season was the next time I ever went back out.
Yeah, Chuck, I give you a lot of credit for going back out how you did, because when I did it last year, I didn't take the bow the rest of the year.
No desire to go. I have no desire to go back.
It wasn't even that. I definitely was like, not necessarily thrilled about it, but like I kind of was like so disgusted with myself that I was like, you don't deserve to go back out again.
No, that's exactly how I was too. I know my brother-in-law did that like 2 turkey seasons ago.
Yeah.
I think he had 2 turkeys about like 40 yards out, 2 separate times, rolled them both, and didn't kill them.
Yeah,
and he was just like, yeah, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the feeling. Like I was the same way deer season this year. I have very limited desire to deer hunt right now.
It's not even so much a desire. It's just
I don't put in all those hours practicing to wound deer, and that's not why I hunt.
No, it's not cool.
We all try to ethically kill deer and harvest deer the best we can with limited or no pain to the animal. And when you don't know what's going on with that deer, you don't know if it's still alive, you don't know if it's suffered, you don't know if it's dead.
with a limited window of time that we have too.
Yeah.
It's not like we do this for a living. We all work full-time jobs, and it's those few days.
Belly's still sitting here.
Belly's here.
This is true.
There we go. But anyway, it sucks. There's no other way to say it other than it sucks. It's like going through a bad breakup.
It's worse than that.
Yeah. I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that. Dilly. I'll drink to that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that like 2 boys went through it in the same year is kind of crazy too. I mean, last year I did it, and then in spring, bad spring with the turkeys too, and this year I was not leery. Leery's not the right word to use, but
lost a little bit of your pizzazz, your little confidence there.
You guys know me. I have a little swagger in my step when I come into the woods.
When I come into the turkey woods, I got some swagger in my step. I will admit, I come into the turkey woods with some swagger. Deer is, and I talked to you guys about it and my wife about it. With Willow getting older and my dog training kind of dying down here the next couple of years, I think I might try to take archery a little bit more seriously. Archery is just a hobby for me recently, the last 5 years, because I train that dog so much. But I might really try to put in the man hours here coming up. But after a year like you have this year, it's just kind of, do I really want to? But I'm sure when that time rolls around next year, I'll get that itch again.
It can go 2 ways. It can go where you're like, do I really want to do this? Or it can also be, you know what? I fucked up, and now this is what I have to do to make sure that will never happen
absolutely.
Again. And that's obviously the route you're taking. But I've been through the ups and downs. Like, I mean, this has been my thing since I was, 14 years old, like hardcore archery hunting. I've been through plenty of ups and downs on deer, especially with bucks. It's not been easy throughout my entire life. And it's like, the only thing that's going to get you over it is this.
If you get your ass back out there.
Keep dragging your ass. And that's why, like, that buck I shot this year, even the PA buck after this one, I'll be honest, I was down and out. Like, my confidence was shot. I had no clue where I wanted to go. I didn't want to get out of bed and go. I had to drag myself through every step of getting ready that day to go out because I was shot. Like, I was done. You put in all that effort for an opportunity,
especially
you usually
when it
get
happens
one
mid-season and you're grinding.
Mm-hmm.
You've been grinding for those like 3-4 weeks, and you're like, damn, dude, I'm just missing them by a couple steps, and you get out there, and then the stars align. Like it is, it's like it's you're Adam Vinatieri. The game's on the line, and you're coming out there to kick a 60-yard field goal.
And the announcers say that I never miss a field goal, and here I am, and I shank it.
Yep,
that's exactly what happened. I mean, 100%. It was. And what bothers me is that there's not many deer where you get the opportunity for them to read the script like that deer did for me.
And that's exactly what my buck did too.
The worst part
read the freaking script, and then you mess it up.
The fact that you fucked up that makes it that much worse.
Yep.
Like, If it would have been, a rut, buck chasing it down, and all of a sudden he just ends up there real quick and boom, you just react and shoot at it. That would obviously still hurt a lot.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
But the fact, when the deer reads the script and does everything you want it to do, and you played the game and you won.
Yeah.
Like, checkmate, I won. And then you literally move your king out of place for some reason, get killed by the queen. Like, that's what happened. I just don't understand it.
It goes back to what your boy Casper said. It's like if you...
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the story that he told on the distraction to you guys about how he missed that one huge one, and like he didn't even want to tell his dad that he saw it here that night. But he was kind of talking about
That's funny you say that because when I mess up, I'm terrified to tell my dad. That's the one person who I'm scared to tell that I fucked up.
Which is crazy because I'm the same way. But then, like when I missed the absolute giant. I've missed a couple deer when my dad was there, like some really big deer with my bow. And I'm always like, you dread to tell him, right? And I tell him, honestly, he's been through it so much that, like, you think he just says something that was like, fuck, that made me feel so much better. Yeah. Like, honest to God, like, he said something that was just like, all right, I don't feel like such a fuck up anymore.
Yeah. My dad tells me a story. He was archery hunting and shot a buck right through double lung. Good shot. He tracked this thing for like 500 yards. It went the whole way through, like into town. And I guess they shot it in rifle season, and it had a hole in the lungs.
Yeah.
And like, I think he tells me that all the time. Like, it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's shitty when it happens, but like, it's insane what those deer can live through.
Yeah. I know the deer that Joe shot this year in rifle, like its lungs, and I don't know if this had something to do with an injury or what, but they were like attached to the inner lining of the wall of ribs and shit.
That's like an actual...
Like I've heard of that happening.
Thing. It's not a...
Like I don't know if it's...
Yeah, that's a legitimate... Tuberculosis is when like...
But that's what he kept saying. I said, that's not it, dude. But...
No, that's like a legitimate medical thing.
I've seen that, but I've also heard where people have literally, they've shot deer double lung, and one of the lungs was like, would literally like scar itself to the ribs and survive somehow. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of that in stories before, and I'm like, that's insane. But they are so tough, dude.
No, they really are.
Shoot me with an arrow, I'm done.
Yeah. It's funny you were saying, though, whenever the deer are reading the script coming in, and it's like the most perfect thing. I remember last year, I just thought of this now, Jeff texted me because he was supposed to come with me the morning that I shot mine. And it was October 30th. It was the day before Halloween, foggy morning.
It's a good day.
Like it was like the most picturesque early archery day you could possibly have. And I was there completely by myself. And this Jeff texted, it was right before sun was coming up. And it was something to the effect of like, you're probably going to see one, you son of a bitch. Or something like that. Because we were back there on a couple, and sure shit, that one came in, and I did that. And as soon as I shot, I remember I went, fuck, like, God damn it, dude. And then my dad was the first person I called, and I was like, he's like, did you get one? Like, I just got out of the tree. I just shot one. And he's like, yeah? It's like, he knocked me pretty hard. He went, ooh. Like, he already knew. Like, just the tone of my voice, he already knew. Like, he didn't, like, and that's kind of what's cool about me and him, is like, he didn't try to, like, not comfort me. That's not the right word, but
he didn't take a jab that he's going to take 3 months later.
No, he never. Good.
Brad, the jab that I'm going to take at Sabelli every time.
Listen, one thing about him, my old man will never take a jab.
Yeah,
he will never take a jab, but he will. It's weird. He didn't try to comfort me, but he didn't try to sugarcoat it either. He was just like, oh, well, let me know, and then that was the end of the conversation. But it's weird when it's like that, dude. It's kind of like whenever you have time to think about it. Like the same with a rifle shot, dude. Yeah. Rifle season, when they're coming in slow for whatever reason, when that like freaky shit happens, when they're just kind of like piss potting, doesn't happen very often, but it does.
No.
You have time to think about it. That's when it's bad news.
I mean, I think rifle season's different though, because archery, you obviously have to let them get in the range, so you're waiting for them to piss pot in,
and you're thinking about it that whole time.
When it's rifle season, you see them at 100 yards and. I don't know about you guys. I don't give them the opportunity.
The bloodthirst takes over.
Yep. You're sending it. No, there's definitely a difference, and I don't think that played a role in my situation because I remember like going through my check marks. I'm on the side of the tree. I'm ready. I'm this. I'm that. I'm gonna do this. I'm going through it, trying to keep myself calm, and I just blew it. Played straight out. And
straight up, I blew it. Yeah, that's all there is.
And it's great. Every other deer I shot, other than the 2 that I needed the dogs for, I watched them go down. Like I freaking 10 ringed all the other deer.
Yeah.
Except for that buck and the one in Ohio.
Yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't make sense. They were the 2 closest shots. The other ones were not.
It was weird. The only buck I saw this year, it didn't even like. I don't know. Usually when I see any deer, I kind of get like real jazzed up. But like, I don't know. The one week I could go out, I wasn't even supposed to be able to hunt archery this year just because of the bow situation. I ended up getting a new bow just in time for the second week of November, and then
what'd you get?
I got an Elite. It's not a new one, but
new to you,
new to me,
new
to me. And I don't know. I kind of got out there, and then it was the first Sunday that we could hunt in archery. I left work early, got in the woods right at noon, up the tree, and I wasn't sitting there for half an hour. And the one, Smelly's dying on us. Anyway, the the area I was hunting was like pretty flooded out because it was on a river, and I had my back to the river because I was like, well, nothing's going to come from the fucking river, so why even bother looking that way? So I was up on this trail, made a mock scrape. It was like real nice. Bunch of rubs all around it, and been there for maybe a half an hour, and finally I decided to sit down. Got the bow hanging on the tree. I just sit down and kind of get comfortable. And they're steady coming right behind me on the river. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. So I'm like, that's a deer, obviously,
Right.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, just let him get in front of you. No big deal. It's wide open in front of you. You can do whatever you need to do. So I'm just sitting there, and this son of a bitch comes straight at my tree. And the wind's blowing right at him, which is insane to me that he didn't win me sooner. But I'm kind of like looking. He gets to my 3 o'clock, and he's like 5 yards from my tree. And I like kind of like I'm looking over my shoulder with my eyes, and he just stops right there. I see him licking his lips, and I'm like, oh, he's not even legal. And then he looks straight up at me, and I'm like, oh shit, he is legal.
So you counted the points.
Yeah, I counted them. Very quickly.
It's good to do that, especially in places with antler restrictions.
Yeah, on public land,
Yeah.
And he looks right up at me, and I'm like, nah, I'm going to let you go. And I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, dude, I'm only here 20 minutes. And I go, there's bucks coming through already, cruising through. And I'm like, yeah, you get a pass, dude. There's something else coming through here. Because me and Chuck were hunting not far from there, and there was a couple like really nice ones.
Some dandies
there. So I'm like, oh, dude, you get a pass. So he kind of like piss pots around, and then he like kind of like bounds back the way he came, and I'm like, whatever. I don't think anything of it. Don't see anything that day. Hunt that same tree like 3-4 days in a row. I don't see a doe. I don't see anything. Not a damn thing. And I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. So me and Smelly go out Thanksgiving, God. A couple, like what was it, a week after season closed.
Yeah.
Get out there. We're walking up through. I was like, I kind of want to check a couple things. We're walking up the deer trail. We get up, and I was kind of telling him something. I was like, yeah, I go, this is a pretty heavy trail. And I'm like, oh, there's some fur right here. Like some white fur. What did you say to me? You said something to me. And he's like, oh, yeah, there's supposed to be a lot of deer. I go, I look over to our right, and I go, oh, shit, there's one right there. He goes, what? And I go, yeah, it's dead.
Just this mangled corpse looking up at us in its last moments of life.
I'm looking at it, I go, son of a bitch, that's that little buck that was there the other day. And I'm like, God damn it. So I go up and look. It's like got its like, guts ripped out, and, its butthole eaten out. No bullet holes in it. No arrow holes in it. Nothing. And it had been dead there for a few days. So I'm like, what the fuck?
There's a little struggle area about 10 yards away from it.
Yeah, and I'm like...
So it's funny you say that. Continue your story, but I have a very interesting story about that afterwards.
Yeah, but we were looking at it, and then I'm like standing there thinking about it, and I'm like kind of looking in the trees. I'm like, dude, we're like 300 yards from the tree I was hanging in, and I'm like looking around the area, and I'm like, we got a trail camera like right here, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? So I pulled the trail camera the next day, and I was looking at it. That buck was on it like 100 times. And then, of course, there's a jumbo 8-point. Absolute jumbo.
In daylight.
The date was the same day me and Chucky were hunting on the opposite side of the river at the exact time we were hunting on the opposite side of the river.
But our win would have been impossible for that spot.
It would have been impossible. But
which is why he was there.
Yeah. 100%.
Plain and simple, that's why he was there.
So, yeah, that was my very brief archery
extravaganza.
It was actually like a brutal, like
We had some
frantic.
fun days out there, though.
When it was me and you out there, I remember the area we hunted. We were in this like, I don't even know how you want to describe it. I mean, it's this like floodplain basically, of a river up by me, and the trees grow in like clumps. So like what?
It was a cluster of maples.
Was it maples?
It was like three maples.
No, there was more than 3. There was like 5 or 6
Yeah,
maples like growing.
There's 3 climbable maples.
It looked like a celery, like a heart of celery, like stalks.
Yeah,
Like
they
like
all. So basically, every piece of high ground, there is literally like a bunch of maples growing up because they're the only trees that could like survive and get in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So me and Chuck hunted that, and we hunted on the river in the actual swamp the one day, and the next 2 days we hunted up on that area there. And I remember I told him, I said, "Fuck it, I'm taking the kayak up the river," because we saw this like really big buck running along the river.
Yeah.
I said, "I'm taking the kayak up. I'm gonna shoot that deer from the fucking kayak." Screw it. Like I was like ready to do some like complete like Captain Insane shit.
Brownwater Navy.
And that Sunday, he's in Ohio. He sends me a text message. He goes, "Dude, this is the trail camera underneath the tree we were in." And it is completely underwater.
It's a lake.
And
that one with the ducks?
Yeah.
So those trees were like, what would you say, 800 yards?
Oh,
6 to 800 yards.
They're a good 600 yards from
the river.
From the river, but there's like little creek channels that run through there too.
Yeah, but it was hard ground when we were there, and then it was under a foot of water.
Joe, did you ever see those pictures?
But
I don't believe so. No.
Needless to say, Chuck sent me those pictures. I go, well, shit. Now what do I do? So then that's how we audibled into the area that I ended up in. Like
that's
bumping.
normal height, right there. Okay, so this is a picture from today, actually, which is funny. Remember, I told you about that.
Yeah, you were talking about the creek crossing
with the guy and the kid.
Yeah.
Guess who I got today?
Oh my god!
Going back through there. There they are.
The Orange Army.
He's actually wearing his shirt this time, but that's them. Okay. So, this was the picture yesterday of that spot.
Oh, wow.
And it gets worse. And the one day, it was after all that rain, I get a picture on my camera, and I'm like, oh my god, that is hilarious. There are geese.
Yeah, you sent that, yeah.
I sent you that one?
Geese were swimming.
Yeah.
The geese. That is the same spot. Those are all the same picture.
Yeah,
there
are
geese
20 feet
standing
right there.
my trail camera. By the way, I got turkeys there too, like flying across that creek. It was so cool.
Dude, the trail camera that I had set up, how far away did you think I was? About a mile, maybe? Half a mile to a mile away from where we hung that trail camera?
Yeah.
Roughly.
Probably about a mile.
Yeah, there was about a flock of 30 at least. You saw the pictures I sent, dude. There was a shit ton of turkeys down in front of there.
I thought it was cool because there was like 3 different birds going through there, and you can kind of tell in the picture like one had just skipped across the water.
Oh yeah, he kind of skadooshed.
Like he and then I got another picture of an action shot of him flying across the water.
He looks like he nosedived.
Yeah, like right into the water. But that was pretty cool. That was all the other day from that spot. And then guess who showed up? Yep,
that big boy. Yeah. But speaking of trail cameras, I still need to go get yours out of the area we were at there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm sure that area got absolutely hammered though. I still have your one stick too.
Yeah, I need that too, if you don't mind. Yeah. So, Sabelli, kind of a rough archery season. You've been out gun hunting a little bit, huh?
Just a tad. I'm actually still excited for late archery just to get back out there. I mean, I suck at it, so I definitely want to practice and get better.
Rifle season yet?
No, still moving about, milling around. Just sucking at hunting as usual.
But I'll actually give you a break
but trying to get better.
We were going to talk about how that random deer died. So when I was searching for my buck, we found a maybe 80-pound button buck dead in the thicket with one hole.
This is on your family's private?
Yes.
Okay.
So nobody hunts. I mean, people poach, but it was in a spot where nobody should have been. There was one hole in the deer in the shoulder, and it wasn't a far hole. It was just because it almost looked like a broadhead slice, but only maybe an inch deep. Not into the vitals, not into the chest cavity, just enough to like break the hide. So we were looking it up and talking to people, and the conclusion that we came to and that a lot of people have seen on the internet, that small button buck will get a little feisty and see a bigger, mature buck
Yeah.
and want to just go up and play. Well, obviously, in the rut,
Yeah.
that mature buck isn't really playing around.
Yeah.
We think that it got a gore in its side,
No shit.
and that's what killed it.
It just died from that? Just that little,
Yeah,
like that
'cause
tiny little, like, puncture?
It hadn't been eaten by the time we found it,
Yeah.
but it was almost like its stomach. It wasn't eating. Like it,
Oh,
it
okay,
rotted
okay.
away from inside
Okay,
almost.
okay.
So I think it got punctured
He went out hard
and
then.
just went out the hard way.
It was
Yeah.
like, hey, guys, what's up? Ah!
That's the conclusion that we came to, at least. And apparently
That is
it happens a lot
wild.
more than I really realized.
No
where that
kidding.
little button buck will just get a little antsy, and obviously a mature buck's not really having that.
No, that's wild. That's very wild, actually.
I mean, I've seen them kind of like, we have a bunch of little bucks on camera right now fighting, and they're little dweebs like Spikes and 4 Points, and they're,
dicks.
but they're going
Little
after it, dude. Like they're banging heads,
Yeah.
and they ain't got a lot of hardware up top. Like they really don't.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny to see them little ones get all horned up. I remember last year I had a picture of 3 little bucks fighting at the same time. All 3 of
Really?
them. Yeah. All 3 heads locked together and they were fighting.
Uh-uh.
Yeah. It was really cool. Never seen anything like that before. They did they were on like not one camera, like 3 cameras on the property doing
They
the
just
same
all
thing.
locked up. And
Yeah, they probably were just
They
locked
did
up.
a little helicopter
Yeah,
maneuver.
they were just running around all locked up together. That's very possible.
Oh, man.
Which I've never seen, but that would be pretty cool. Like to shoot a buck after he was carrying around another deer's dead head.
I've been
Well, I
seeing
did-
a lot more of that lately of like deers like being like stuck with another
You
one.
see it online a lot.
Yeah. I
All
mean,
my Instagram feeds currently hunting wise are just like giant bucks just hauling literally half of another buck because they've just been torn to shreds and the other one's still trying to shake him off.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
not to completely change gears here, but since this is the season finale and I guess the end of the year, so to speak, for the podcast, Chuck, what was your biggest, most favoritist moment this year?
My biggest, most favoritist?
Not necessarily the podcast, but like Outcast related moment. What was your favoritist, most coolest?
All these
moment?
these are the worst
These
words.
are
I've
not
ever
great
heard in my
words.
life.
Like, they're not rolling off your tongue very well.
I wanted to be a little abrasive to kind of shock you back into reality here.
Honestly, I think the most funnest, coolest moments
This has got to be a T-shirt afterwards.
of
by
the
way.
year. And I'm going to make this hard on these two over here, but probably when we did our little fishing excursion
Oh God.
competitions. And I fucking sucked. Like, I couldn't catch anything.
I would
But
just like to
those
take
were
this
so
moment
much
to
fun.
point out that Chuck talked the most shit on
There's
the fishing
no
thing
way.
late in the year, and he
definitely
keeps bringing
did.
it up.
Oh, well, but like, that was at the moment in the summer.
Yeah,
That was the coolest.
it was the coolest.
I mean, I'll be honest. I haven't fished.
Can we stop saying coolest?
I
By the way,
haven't-
before we
Absolutely
continue to
not.
stay?
I haven't
Absolutely
summer fished
not.
in a while because, quite frankly, it's just not the coolest thing I can do in the summer. But, this year, I actually got a little horned up for fishing, and
Yeah, it's because of me.
we caught a lot of bass here.
That one day, we caught literally
Turn the mic.
at that pond. We had to have caught
Oh,
just
we-
between you and me.
Oh, hey, hey, I caught
Chucky
two.
fucking
apologize.
2 hours to catch a fish.
Yeah,
But we
then I
caught,
was
like,
catching
We
them.
caught like 80 10-inch bass.
Yeah.
I
mean, like,
fished for 2 hours trying to catch anything over 10 inches, and it just didn't exist there, okay?
We were slaying
you
the
beg
10
to
inchers.
differ, but
You caught 8.5-inch fish over and over again.
correct.
Maybe
Probably
a
the same
6-incher.
one.
And a 6-incher here and there.
If
But
we
the
would've
difference
actually
You were
was-
fishing with mealworms. I don't want to hear it.
Mealworms.
He was fishing with mealworms.
Trout fishing.
Yeah, he's out here with
That's a
That's what
lie.
Chucky said. I pulled out this
That's a lie. I was using
Quarter-inch
a drop shot
crankbait.
Z-Man.
and he was like, I should have known there was something weird when he pulled out that quarter-inch crankbait.
he's over here
That's right,
fishing
you
with
did
like a
have that.
cricket.
I was hammering him with that
He had
quarter-inch
this
crank.
little mini crankbait that literally you would have had to have jerked with all your might to get it to go down more than 6 inches in the
He's
water.
casting at 8 feet in the water and still just banging fish, right? Like
My
there's a-
longest cast was maybe 20 yards.
Oh,
I mean, if you got it, you got it. You know what I mean?
And I'm out here with like
He knew the strike zone.
freaking spinner bait with a trailer. My lure's like this long. It's literally as big as the fish. I'm not even getting a bite.
Chuck's throwing 6-inch.
Chuck's still thinking
chatterbaits.
bowfin.
He's throwing
Fishing for
walleye
creek
lures
chubs.
and
He's
musky
throwing-
lures
he's
over
throwing
there.
Because
Berkeley
I've-
slobber knockers.
I have fished these ponds in the past, and these lures have worked. Like, I used to catch respectable fish out there. Apparently,
There's nothing respectable about fishing in Westminster.
no.
this wasn't at
This wasn't Westminster. These
Oh.
were the
This is the
Plot
place me and
twist.
Chucky went to tonight.
same place we went to tonight
Oh.
and hunted deer, but we were in
Plot
the big
twist.
lake. Yeah,
Plot twist.
and I'm like,
That place is deep.
We were
I
at the
caught,
quarries.
I caught an 18-incher in there one
We're
time.
gonna have
Like,
to do it off camera.
That's where we used to have the Shenango High School fishing tournament.
Well, you know where it
Oh.
is. You know where we're talking
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, like, I've went in there with I've drove my kayak back there before
Oh, gotcha.
and banged bass the year before, 2 years before, but apparently there's been a lot of Amish in there, and I don't know if they're keeping fish or what.
We
I
did
would
hear
imagine
somebody was telling us the day before the Amish were in there and were just
slaying.
slaughtering
The
everything.
great equalizer of Pennsylvania. Outdoor
So,
any
it-
activity.
Kind of makes sense. We were literally, I don't think anybody caught a fish over 11 inches
caught-
that
Well,
day.
didn't you say the one day we went to Westminster and there was somebody there that said the Amish were there the day before too, and they were just
Oh, we couldn't catch
slaughtering.
anything.
it. We
It just-
didn't even
it
get
made
a bite.
perfect sense.
Yeah,
When they show up, they all have, each one has a bucket. They sit on the bucket, and then
Yeah.
that bucket's filled.
Which
and
is
then they
unbelievable. Okay, that lake is very coveted for alumni like myself. Okay,
leave. Uh-huh.
LOL.
and
No
current.
one here would ever break the law. We're
Current
not talking
people.
about any law
We're
breakers.
talking about
No,
the
we-
people that wear blue that obviously didn't graduate from Westminster.
Listen, man, there could be some sort of extension programs going on there, but these
The most
people,
they've ever gone to Westminster is riding their buggies through our freaking
they
streets and
do
shitting on the
park
roads.
the buggies next to the lake.
They
I
do
can
be shitting
verify
on the
this.
roads.
They do be shitting all over
They
the
do
road.
be
they do be shitting.
With that, good segue, Joey.
Just like Chucky, they do be shitting.
They do be shitting. What is your coolest moment of 2022? We're making that a t-shirt.
LL
Oh, yeah.
coolest.
Coolest moment of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Or the biggest. I mean, anything. Not even the coolest.
I always enjoy our squirrel slaughter.
We're
Every
looking
year.
forward to what we got.
January
a pencil.
14th.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Well, that doesn't count. We didn't do it yet.
We didn't do
No,
it
I
yet.
said last year's is what my most coolest moment was for 2022.
It was
That's what I
with,
was asked.
Was it in 2022?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was with me, Jeff, and his crony buddy Chris from Ohio.
Was it late season squirrel?
Yeah, Jane. It was
Yeah,
January,
but-
February, wasn't it?
I thought it was earlier than that. That's why I didn't.
Was it?
If not, when me and you went to the big lake, I enjoyed that because Willow would put on a clinic that day.
Yeah, it was always a good time. Oh, that was-
Okay. I
that
can
was a
respect that. I do want to do some squirrel hunting. I've been talking Willow up something serious.
well, the 14th,
Yeah.
you better get your arrows ready because that's a
That's
closed,
going to be a full day.
it's already on
closed
the,
group.
that's on the calendar.
Yeah.
that's a closed group
100%.
activity. That's not open to the public.
That's a 5-person group activity.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull all those arrows out there that I found at TAC, and I'm shooting them all. With
We
these
got
squirrels.
you and Jeff on the bow, Sibeli back and clean up, me on the camera. That's just how it is.
We should have him take his
Me
bow, so we don't have to
handling
look
the
at his
dog.
stupid shotgun.
Yeah, we can let him do that. I'm down with it.
No.
Nah, we'll let that Matthews
We need
collect
a
dust.
cleanup.
We need Jeff to freaking destroy
Too many
Sibeli.
Bloody
You also
Marys.
shoot those giant freaking triangles of death broadheads
Yeah.
at them squirrels.
I mean, so far Jeff is the only person with confirmed bow kills.
That one was the very first one.
Was the best, and it was with
Do
a
you
field
remember-
point. It was with a field point.
Was it really?
Yeah, it wasn't with a
10
Judah.
ridden that squirrel.
It fell
It
on
was,
a
it was
tree.
right off the North County Trail.
That poor bastard. That poor bastard had a nut in its mouth. It's in the this is in a video from
3-4
3
years
or 4
ago.
years ago. This poor bastard was climbing up the tree, had a big walnut in its mouth,
Yep.
and Jeff drilled it, and it dropped its nut, and it
That is
just kind of
such a
like
good
tried to
video.
hang on. And in the air, it was like literally out of a cartoon. The arrow was 50-50, perfect, straight through it.
Oh, yeah.
Fun
And it
fact.
landed with
Well,
the
then,
arrow hanging in it.
you
Fun
remember-
fact, I was in Ohio. I remember driving to my hunting spot in the middle of the freaking rut, watching that video, swerving all over the road, just losing my
The
mind.
very next year, we tried to do it again, but Jeff didn't come. It was me, you, and Tanner.
Oh, he's gonna come.
Yeah, and Tanner lost
And
every
Tanner
freaking arrow
lost
he had.
Every
He's
arrow
gonna
he
come.
possibly had.
And he hit that bastard up. We were in that real
We were in
thick
that thick
spot,
shit. That's actually where I shot my bucket.
and it was with your dad.
Yeah.
Your dad was there.
Because my dad had that stupid freaking BB gun, and he was trying to.
We hear
It-
all about
It was
this.
it was a mix. Tanner it pretty much was.
It was bad. It was bad.
Tanner would shoot an arrow and lose it into the oblivion.
To be fair, he was shooting. Those were pokes up in that tree.
No
like,
doubt.
this was no bullshit.
My dad would shoot a BB. Squirrel wouldn't move. Arrow, BB. We did this. You remember?
That's the worst part was, it wasn't like we were on squirrels all day that we could just just shoot this.
It was a blizzard that day. That's why.
Yeah, and this was the first one we found after like a few hours.
Oof.
And we're like, okay, this is thick, but we're out here. We got a bunch of footage. We need to try to like save the day. Tanner's like, I think I can hit that. And he took a couple steps back and he's shooting. And anybody that's shooting a boat, he's literally holding this almost completely straight up. And he to his credit, he is like right on it. He's right on it. And then your dad is shooting.
It wasn't a grapevine tangle tree.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was just a bad situation.
Not a good scenario.
We finally got it down. But you remember that day we took
about an hour.
You remember that day we took your buddy from Pittsburgh on the very first day, and it was 85 degrees.
Yeah,
and nobody could find the squirrel.
Yeah,
and I had to pull Willow off the tree because she was going to overheat.
Yeah,
we got to that point in 14-degree January temperatures. Yeah. Because nobody could hit this squirrel.
It was terrible.
And I was like, I got to get Willow off this tree. She's been treed for 40 minutes now.
Oh, my God.
Oh. Willow's just going hoarse.
Yeah, the overheating lights coming on.
Oh, my God. I mean, it was bad. It was bad.
But no, I am looking forward to that again this year, and that's
our annual thing, though. Yeah. It's been our annual thing for since you've been coming around.
3 or 4 years now.
Sabelli.
I'm pulling an audible, and I'm giving 3 quick coolest
No, look, I gotta say the word. What was your coolest moment? I got to say the word.
All right, give me the intro. Coolest.
What was your coolest?
All right, I'm going to give 3 quick coolest. One
for each of
one. Too bad.
Yeah, one.
Audible.
One for each of us.
Yeah, one for each of you.
Sabelli's getting it. 'Tis the season.
I like this.
'Tis the season. So for Chuck,
okay,
it's going to be the last Sunday that we hunted turkey in West Virginia this year.
Which was shooting range one?
Which was pure chaos the entire day.
That was freaking cool.
That was an absolute tear and a fun-ass day where we literally were on a turkey at the very end of the day after we had gorged ourselves on an entire
beautiful breakfast.
2-hour-long breakfast.
What was the name of that place?
I don't want to give it up.
Yeah, it's going to give too much away.
Okay, anyways. Delicious breakfast.
Camera, I want to remember.
We were all ready to just fall back asleep. Pulled over to the side of the road. Last stop. We were getting ready to leave. Chuck's taking a shit, I'm pretty sure, and I was taking a piss, and all of a sudden you just hear, oh, just a hammer. Like, literally, like.
I did not take a shit. He went to go piss.
He went
to go piss, and I went across the road,
Chuck,
and I called. Remember, I called.
Chuck do be shitting.
No,
be shitting.
I do be shitting, but not
Sam
then.
be shitting holding hands.
No, so remember when we were in the parking lot, and we heard that bird way up on the hill, right? You remember that after Sabelli just quit on us
when he went full salmon.
Oh, that's absolutely
yes. So we went in the same parking lot.
All right,
the same parking lot. Sabelli went to piss up by the gate by the creek. That was too loud. I went across the road and I called, and the bird hammered.
I mean, just
you didn't hear him at first.
Oh, no, remember, I heard him instantly.
I thought you said you thought I was lying.
In air moved. It was like echoing.
So this time you actually heard me. Oh my God! Wow.
Anywho.
But anyways, yeah, so he called and the bird answered fully and Chuck just slowly turned to me because we were both just full of pancakes and syrup at this point. And Chuck slowly turned and looked at me, and while I'm pissing, I looked over my shoulder and looked at him, and we just both nodded and went, yeah, we got to go for it. And then for the next hour, we literally semi-navigated a live gun range to try to get to where this turkey was. And we got close. I'm pretty sure that bird was literally only like 25 yards away from us, like over a hill, like just over that little shit ledge that we couldn't get it to come over. But like that was the end. But I mean, like that day was phenomenal.
We had that bird within range.
Oh, we were perfectly set up.
I don't even know how many times.
And then the local militia showed up with SKSs and started clobbering that gun range. And
I mean, they were TAPCO SAS.
Yeah, I mean,
SKS.
I support it. Now for Joe, it would have been.
I already know what it is.
Joe was.
I think I know what it is.
Joe was. Well, it was another Turkey Day, but it was just. It was just.
I know what it is.
It was just our local, like another local public spot I go to, and Joe was with me the entire day, and it was just all mayhem.
I'm pretty sure I was there that day.
Misery and hell.
No.
Oh,
this was just me and him.
No, it was just me and him.
Wow.
It was absolutely.
I didn't sign off on that.
Wind.
Did you?
It was an absolute downpour. just
Permission slip.
just rain, wind the whole day, and we had birds literally around us
They
at
were
a bunch of
they
different
were
times. They
hammering
were
all
going
morning.
crazy.
Oh, I do remember
But we
this.
couldn't just get them to come over these few little lips and hills, and every time we adjusted, they would adjust too, and we just couldn't get them to commit. But once again, that was
Pretty cool,
that was tied for my other favorite turkey day of the year.
See, you didn't even say what I think you were.
Why?
I thought you were going to say.
What else did I miss?
The decoy.
Oh God, we got to get up to finally make a move on these birds that we know are just over this little hill. I start standing up. Joe goes to stand up. We make it maybe 3 yards walking forward, and Joe goes, "Hurry up, sit back down."
No, not that one.
Look, you're talking about the
when I was fucking with a decoy right off this, right at light.
oh,
When I couldn't get
Because
it
he's trying to
stay
find
up.
broken sticks.
okay, so yeah, there's
decoy
actually
out.
so there's actually two moments. The first one being
Walmart Deluxe.
early
That's it.
on in the morning. Joe did not have his little stand like stick,
steak.
like the stake for the decoy.
I think I lost it in Virginia.
So I'm sitting there up against a tree, and I'm watching Joe in the center of like this 4-way conversion highway of like just open area. And he's literally every stick he
I'm
picks
just
up.
breaking every stick I can
he-
find, trying to make it the right length.
He pushes the decoy down, and you just hear a loud snap. Then he reaches around, grabs another stick, puts it underneath, pushes it in.
Meanwhile,
Snap.
turkeys are gobbling everywhere.
Turkeys are
they're actively coming
Dude, they
in.
are everywhere, and I'm looking over my shoulder every 3 seconds going, these birds are literally going to come out and think Joe's the decoy because he's still standing there. But the other one I'm talking about was later on in the day where we were going to get up to go move on some turkeys
Yeah, I
that were on
remember
the other
that.
side of a hill, and we made just a couple steps, and Joe turned around real quietly and goes, go sit back down, hurry up, go sit back down. I go, what's going on? He goes, there's a red head right there in the field, right there in front of us, like 100 yards. Just sit down. Well, we sit down. We're waiting. Maybe another half hour goes by. Joe's making some calls. Nothing's. We can still hear the turkey on the other side of the hill, but nothing's happening. Well, finally, we just give up because the turkeys on the other side of the hill stopped, and we get up and start walking. And Joe had seen a bird box, a bird nest that was just painted red. But it was at a far enough distance that we really couldn't see it that well, and it was in a field.
It was in a wide open field,
Yeah,
and
so
there's something red in a wide open field.
We've all been
It
there.
just
Yeah.
absolutely
Definitely been
halted our
How many
ability to
how many
hunt.
turkey bushes, turkey
Oh.
trees, turkey stumps have we gone
Deer
after?
rocks, deer
I-
stumps.
Yep, been
And
there.
Pretty
The-
sure I've stalked a
The
couple.
third and final
Oh,
encounter,
100%, yeah.
the third and final encounter, the coolest,
Oh.
only happened within a short period of time ago with Boer, and that was our little squirrel soiree on Thanksgiving.
You're gonna call this the coolest? This was
This is
like
gonna
your
be the
darkest
coolest-
hour.
This is going to be the coolest / darkest for you and me this year, I think. Was that on the way back from going out and sitting and trying to get some squirrels on Thanksgiving? Was that we were walking back? What was that? Was that just a random trail, or was that like?
It was pretty random.
It was a pretty random trail that we were walking back, and it looked kind of muddy and a little deep, and we weren't really kind of geared for that. But anyway,
I was.
Well, you were a little bit more than me.
What the fuck?
But as
is
we
that?
slowly pushed down the actual path,
Oh.
Boer got maybe like 15 yards in front of me, and you were walking okay. I mean, we were sinking just a tiny bit.
I mean, keep in mind this is it looked like grass.
Yeah, it just
Oh,
looked like
I
it just
know
like-
exactly where
This
you were.
This is Chucky's spot. This is
Yeah.
Chucky's spot. We're
It
in.
looked like just
I've learned this exact
regular old
thing
ground.
the wrong way, just like you guys.
And within 5 steps, I just went, "Oh no," and just absolutely sunk to my hip. And I went, "Oh!" But in my mind, I'm kind of laughing at it just because it's funny, and I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm thinking to myself, I'm just going to push my foot further down, and I'm going to hit the bottom and push myself back up. No big deal. Except I looked in
Plot
front
twist.
of me, and Boer has now sunk down up like towards his knees, hip. And normally I can judge our situation in Boer's face, whether it's comical, disastrous, fearful. Like my demeanor changes when I see Boer's face. And I went from kind of jokingly like, haha, I'm up to my waist in mud. Like, well, everything's cool. To all of a sudden I looked in Boer's eyes, and it was pure terror. And I was like, oh no. I was like, this could kind of get weird. And yeah, long story short, we just kind of crawled ourselves.
light.
We crawled ourselves to the sides of the road, and then just
Whoever's trying to kill me.
very
It's gonna be my
shittily
coolest
walked our
moment
way
of
out covered in
2022.
mud.
Coolest moment.
Coolest
Well, I mean,
moment of 2022, me dying right before
The
that.
first thing that came to mind because I couldn't. I was in front, obviously, so Sabelli was behind me like 10, 15 yards, and I was in muck boots, so I stepped, and I was squishing a little bit, and I went up to almost over my muck boot, and I went, oh shit, and I turned around just to tell Sabelli, don't take another step, and I turned around, and he was shoving his shotgun into the mud, and half of his body was like completely out of my vision.
It's like an ice fishing accident.
Why is there always near-death experiences when we get together? When you almost knocked that tree on top of me?
Listen, usually the common denominator is Jeff.
It's
To be
you
completely
lately.
fair,
Yeah,
but lately
it's definitely
it's
not
been
Jeff.
Jeff.
Maybe it's
Hold on.
not
It's
Jeff.
whenever I hunt with Sabelli, I always end up with absolutely soaked feet within the first 20 minutes of being there. That's the common
That is
denominator
true.
with Sabelli.
Soaked feet for Joe is
But
a
like
must when he's with
even
me.
Booer almost drowned. That's still you.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Is that your coolest moment of 2022?
Listen, I think I know one of your coolest moments, and I kind of left it out of my coolest
Go ahead.
moments.
You tell me what my coolest moment was.
I think far none. It was probably fishing up in the old swamps for the old stink
Yeah,
donkeys.
you guys did have a. that was pretty
That
cool.
was my.
I'm
That was
excited for
probably
that
my
next
big
year because I
claim.
didn't get in on it.
I
Until
didn't
late
either. I was
season this
busy.
year.
Yeah,
That was
I left that out of mine. But if I had to give another coolest moment, it'd probably be fishing out there.
cool. I would have to probably say my coolest moment. Either that. I mean, our big week up in the woods turkey hunting is always up there.
I kind of
Granted,
left
this
that
year-
out because I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
It was
We're gonna talk about this. First of all, we all need to decide our out-of-state hunt,
Yeah.
but we also, and I've already made it known because I have some poorly timed adventures coming the first week of May.
Indeed.
Hey man, I'll drink to it anyway.
That first week of deer or turkey season, I will be at my camp, and all of our camps are fairly semi-close to each other, so
Yeah.
we can rendezvous up there.
I mean, shit, we had a big week up there. Whether or not something died, we still had a big week. I mean,
That was the most coolest encounters without killing an actual turkey
yeah.
that I think I've ever been a part of.
Fun fact, I literally
I've never been on birds that consistently.
I've just listened to that podcast like the other night at work, and I was kind of recounting that, and I was like, it is a miracle me and Chuck didn't get in a fight that day. It is a miracle that me and Chuck we weren't throwing hands that day at the tree.
Also, fun fact.
Our coolest squirrel hunt of 2022 happened in 2021. It was actually December
I told
17th.
you.
Okay, there it is.
It was
There
close.
Bunch of cheaters.
I do
knew
remember it was
Good call
cold
out,
as
Chuck.
shit. It was
Mhm.
it was a
Called
very
him out.
cold morning.
I knew that was bullshit.
Yeah.
Trying to lie.
Calling bullshit on my cool story.
But
That's bullshit. You can't have that story. It was last year's coolest moments.
Jesus. Personally, I
Bunch of
would
nanners
probably
left
have to
over
say my coolest was the swamp up in Geneva fishing for bowfin.
Yeah.
That was my big. I put a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of time into that 2-week stretch
I
there.
think that was some of your best filming for the year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that kind of cheesed me off a little bit about last year.
Your guys' adventure at the pond, you got some really good footage there.
Yeah, I mean,
But that was on shore. There were two of you. I don't know.
well, I mean, the first half of it was just me though.
right.
To be completely fair.
No, it was.
The first adventure, it was only me filming that. And this, as many coolest moments as we had this year, I just feel like we didn't get as many on camera as I wanted to get. That's not throwing shade at you. I mean, that's a lot of
Throwing
things
shade.
prior to
No,
that
I mean,
too.
there's a lot of things too. We just didn't finish with a positive enough outcome, or like that. The moment with us in the swamp, that was one of the coolest hunts of my entire year.
Without a doubt.
And we didn't even see a deer other
We
than
saw
a
one.
stupid little spike thing.
Yeah, stupid little 4-point, yeah.
Yeah, a little 4-point.
Yeah.
Like that was probably like that footage you have me thrashing in.
It's in the
is
new intro.
probably
It's in the new
The
intro.
best footage I've
God.
ever seen you capture. Like I could legitimately see that scene on like a
That still gets
TV
hits.
show.
Well, we made that a short on
Wait,
YouTube.
which scene are
It's
you
still
talking
good. When Chuck was rattling in the tall grass.
like how crisp that video is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be completely fair, the day me and
Ooh.
Dingleberry were back and he went balls deep in the mud, that was going to be like some really
Please
crisp
don't refer to me as
footage.
Dingleberry.
Chode Loader 9000.
Good
Overlord.
footage. Good footage that we didn't get. The day that me, Sabelli, and Chucky went to that pond that we did our little mini competition, all you see. So everybody's laughing because we know exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So we all decided to show up at a certain time. Obviously, Chucky's the last one there.
Late. Chucky do be late.
It's not even a
So all of
He
a
do
sudden,
be shitting and he do be late.
he shows up,
Both those
waiter's
things out there.
intact, grabs both of his fishing poles, and just takes off. Me and Sabelli are still standing in the truck just waiting, trying to figure out what's going on. All of a sudden, you see Chucky running down the road, as fast as he can go.
Pretty fast.
Dives into the weeds and just starts taking off on this deer trail.
It was like one of those videos that like somebody gets real
he
grainy
just
footage.
disappears.
Like somebody gets
It's a
grainy footage of like
Bigfoot.
Yeah, like Bigfoot.
Same
Like,
That's exactly
it's
what
like
it
that
is.
shaky hand cam footage of something running real quick. You can't figure out what it is. Me and Joe are just looking at it. You're going, is that Chuck? You just see Chuck go, see you later. And he's just he's over a hill through a thicket already. Like,
Competition starts now.
yeah, it's like his line's already in the water. We were like, what the hell's going on?
I was running like
this
an
is something I
asshole, too.
wanted to actually bring up, but it's kind of a good segue into the next thing I was going to bring up. But plans for 2023, something that I wanted to bring up because we keep talking about these goofy Sabelli challenges that you guys were doing
Self-proclaimed challenges that he's self-proclaimed wins.
Yeah.
that I refuse to be a part
I'm the
of.
best.
Is I would really like for us to like hit like maybe like the 3 big lakes around here, even if it's just from the shore, is just like a goofy little video challenge. Because the one we did at my grandma's house like a million years ago,
I love that video.
it's funny as shit. But here's the kicker:
I like the idea of us
They
all
all had
having our own
camera
and
and
we
do
can segue back
Mhm.
and forth. I like that.
yeah.
idea.
I think that is something we need to do. But I guess to kick that off, my goals for 2023 and my, things coming up is I would like to get more videos like that of like us, like kind of challenges, stuff like that. I think that would be like really cool to do.
I agree.
But also B, to get Chuck to upgrade his camera game and like get into like the 21st century with everybody else here
I thought that was going to be me.
and you, Smudge Master.
Smudge Master
Smudge
5000 over
Hey,
here.
that turkey video was crisp and clean.
Joe goes, hey man,
2/3 of it.
hey, can you help me out, man? Yeah, dude, I got you. All right, just email it over. I got you. Pull it up, I'm like, the fuck is this?
It's like a bug just ran into his windshield.
It looks.
Hey, I upgraded from a GoPro to a $50 Craigslist camera.
It looked like he sneezed
And it looks
directly
like-
into his hands and then tried to wipe off his.
It
lens
looks like
with
he's
that.
talking to a ghost when he's talking to me.
It
on the
looks
bench.
like I went from filming on some kind of black and white recorder in the 60s
like an LG chocolate phone.
to some 4K video that Booer has.
I mean,
that's my upgrade. game.
Chuck was talking about like the crisp video, and this is something that we, and by we I mean me, has spent like a lot of time and money over the last 5 years, like really trying to step up, the game. Because I remember whenever I sent you guys the fishing video, I was like, this is the level that we need to be on. Because I mean, think about the other people that are like in our, using air quotes, realm or like group. Bo Martonic is putting out like cinema quality shit straight up,
Yeah, but he only puts out 3 videos a year.
and they're unbelievable.
Oh, I love Bo. He's the man.
They're unbelievable.
And they are unbelievable.
You know?
But no, I won't make excuses. He did it right. He found a guy to go film for him. And
Yeah, but
He
that
made
goes
a
back
hell
to
of a
also
film.
what I said too, is you can't hunt and shoot at the same time.
Right.
It's if you're making very quality shit, it's hard.
Yeah.
Very
these
difficult.
features, air quotes again,
Joe, I might have a camera for you.
Not interested.
Chuck, 2023, what are you looking forward to the mostiest?
What's
Why
gonna
do
be
you keep
your
starting with me?
What's gonna be your mostiest?
Wait, no.
We're going
Did you
clockwise.
did you answer coolest moments?
Yeah, I just did mine.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then I did my
he actually
mostiest.
gave his mostiest goal.
I did
of
the coolest and the
2023.
mostiest. So Chuck, what's your mostiest?
What? What am I looking forward to the most next
Yeah,
year?
in 2023. This is the end, this is the
Mostiest?
end of the year. This is the big wrap up. Next year, what are your goals?
Well, first off, I'm not done this year. Okay.
Oh wow, that's
Jesus.
he came out strong with that answer.
That was real heavy, too.
I
the
am
way you
not
said
done
that.
this year.
Fucking done.
I'm gonna come.
I still got
He's
4
gonna come.
tags.
I'm gonna come.
And shit might die. No, I do want to get out a lot though with this stupid beagle that keeps click clacking underneath the tape. Yeah, him. I want to get out with him a lot
Currently
more
mounting.
this year and chase some rabbits and stuff. But next year, man, I don't know. I'm definitely going to upgrade a couple things on the filming side. And I keep telling
Thank
myself
God.
that, like, oh, I'm going to commit to it. And then I don't because it's inconvenient on me. But I think if I upgrade my camera arm, stay with the same camera, upgrade the camera arm, and go with probably the same. I don't know. I don't mind my GoPro, but I kind of like your camera a lot better for the functionality and the battery life and whatnot.
The One
It's
RS
less pain in the ass.
is very nice. I will say this: the new GoPro being able to record in 10-bit color, that means absolutely nothing to probably 90% of the people listening to this and you guys. That's a big deal for an action camera, but anything with new and GoPro in the same sentence, you need to kind of give them a couple months to work it
Yeah.
out, and they just came out. with that.
I'm still rocking the 7. I'm pretty sure. So I'm a little behind the times on
And
the GoPro part of it. But honestly, for me, it's the arm that's the biggest thing.
the Lone Wolf custom gear
Yeah,
is
well,
expensive.
yes,
It is
but
expensive.
Matt Garris just came out basically with the exact same design.
I haven't seen his yet.
And I'm probably going to get it instead. I just need to sell my reach to somebody. So, anyways, I got to sell some stuff, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to some things. I think next year, out of state turkey season, I'm looking forward to that probably the most if we can make that happen.
If we can decide where
That's
we're
our
gonna
biggest
go.
2 weeks of the year, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's big for me. Like I still try to do my out of state hunt and archery
These
season
guys
too
want
every
to
year.
drive to Alaska, so I mean,
So there's no turkeys in Alaska.
There could be.
Dumbass.
There could be.
Dumb idiot.
No, there's
Could be.
not.
The only
The
turkey in
only
Alaska
state
would be you, but if you came there,
turkey ass.
Don't call me a turkey ass.
I already did.
Charlie
Anyways,
Boyd. Joey,
big breast.
that's my
Hey, man.
answer. Upgrade
Talk about my
upgrade camera accessibility, so I'm actually using it more. Maybe hunt more with guys that want to run the camera. And
why did you point? Seriously, you just pointed at me.
I'm literally
pointed
throwing
at
my
me
arm everywhere.
In my straight up, not even general, direct direction.
No, I was pointing at
You
the O'Doul's
mostiest
over
pointed
there.
at me.
No.
Joey, what's your mostiest for 2023?
My mostiest for 2023 is I have to finish Willow out to the Hall of Fame. 1 win away. I need to accomplish that here soon
Or we're gonna put
before I
put
lose
her
my
down.
absolute mind.
Jesus,
or we're
man.
putting her down.
Shut your
Wow.
poor mouth.
Wow.
I meant competition wise.
Chuck, you're cut off.
Jesus, guys.
You heard it here first.
Turn his mic off.
Shooting the dog that doesn't get first place.
Put her down.
Metaphorically.
Straight to the glue factory.
okay.
Good grief.
Jeez.
See ya, bitch.
As if she hasn't provided enough for you.
Yes.
Come on, I'm no Sabelli.
That's all you got, just the Hall of Fame, Joey?
No, that's my
come on.
mostiest. And
That's all he's got. That's
So wait,
that's
when
a
is
pretty
that?
big.
When is that coming up?
In the next couple weeks.
Worlds are coming up, right?
That's not until February.
Okay.
March. But competitions are going to run until February, so I need one more win in that time frame to get her in the Hall of Fame. My other mostiest is,
I hate everybody.
You're welcome.
like I said, I want to spend a little bit more time archery hunting next year. I think I'm going to break down and purchase a new bow.
Are you actually going to come to TAC with us?
I was going to this year, but then my dad asked me to go fishing. And
Yeah,
think
I
that
remember
was-
now.
that
And we
was the
threw some
day-
shade.
Yeah, I mean, when
He
Dad
said-
asked me to go
he said
fishing, I went
we
fishing.
didn't invite him, right? Probably.
Because that was the day you guys
He
died
definitely
on
got
Curry,
invited.
too.
Joe, they're turning on you real quick.
Oh, that's
there, bud.
fine.
His ass got invited.
No, I was invited. Then my dad asked to go fishing, so I went fishing.
No, fishing was
Fishing
That
was
wasn't
Camo
TAC, it was
Cares.
Camo
Camo
Cares.
Cares.
I wasn't invited to TAC.
Oh.
Well, TAC is
They're backtracking.
That's a
Joe.
commitment.
See,
Yeah.
now they're backtracking
they're
because they knew
backtracking.
I
I've
was.
seen
No,
this
I
before.
wasn't backtracking. I corrected.
corrected.
Corrected
No, I
myself.
We
was
corrected
definitely
routes.
invited to
That's a
Camo
little bit
Cares,
of a
and that was a
backtrack.
fishing day, and that's
Yeah, TAC was
also
kinda
the day that you guys died and Sabelli got disarmed, and it was just a bad day for everybody. except
No,
for
Oh.
Camo. No, that wasn't
No.
Camo Cares. That was Possum Hollow.
That was Possum
That's what I'm
Hollow.
talking
That's
about,
actually
yeah.
what we're talking about. Yeah,
That's what I'm
Oh
talking
yes.
about.
Okay. So yeah,
it was Possum Hollow.
That's the day that I went fishing.
Yep, 100%.
that we're. I don't know that we can legally talk anymore about that day.
That day
was
is
a fun day.
day in the book.
Holy-
You want to talk about coolest moments?
Holy
How
and
did
sh-
we all forget that moment?
Holy and Schmoly were literally just texting me about the podcast,
Hank,
and I said Chuck Schmammered, and they're like, "It's going to be gold."
my
And
boys.
then now I'm having PTSD thinking about that night.
That was probably the coolest moment of 2022.
Smelly, what's your mostiest for 2023?
That I'm just looking forward to in general.
Your mostiest. That's what the fucking question was.
Go ahead.
It's been too long. I don't even remember what mostiest is. I've been dazing
Just-
in and out.
What do you got? What do you got
figure
coming
it
up in
out.
2023?
I'll tell you exactly what I
Put
already know
context
exactly
clues
what the
together.
fuck I got coming up in 2023, and that's a first place
feisty.
Wednesday night podium finish. You bitches. Yeah, you
Drop
bitches.
we can all dream.
Yeah, what's up, bitches?
Oh.
First place podium Wednesday nighter hoisting.
Keep
All right.
dreaming, sweetheart. Let's wrap it up.
So what's your real mostiest? Now that we got that out of the
I
way.
don't have anything special. Just trying to hone the hunting craft and just getting outdoors as much as possible. That's it. Nothing crazy.
I love how we just all shit on his mostiest. Like it wasn't even feasible.
You guys are
Listen,
all
I'm going to be honest with you.
bastards.
Fish those tournaments long enough that not even I can like even try to count those as a mostiest for any year under any condition.
You have to work your way up to mostiest. That's the tiniest.
I guess I already gave. Did I give my mostiest? Yeah, I gave
Yeah,
my
a little
mostiest.
bit, yeah.
Quit kicking my mic.
I'm not doing anything, bud.
Take this over real quick.
Hey, that's
you
my
know,
microphone.
you know what the mostiest for this guy right here, Sabelli, should be?
He's talking about me.
Maybe once
Uh-oh.
killing anything without me there.
Oh,
Chucky,
Us.
I got one too.
not him.
I got
Us.
one.
Chucky does provide. Chucky.
Chucky, you ready for this?
Everyone.
Sabelli's mostiest for 2023 should be getting a new pair of glasses to start seeing what he's shooting. Like those Jakes.
Oh my god.
Them Jakes.
Well, listen. I had a 5 out of 6
Jakes.
chance. I had a 5 out of 6 chance of shooting the proper animal.
Chuck, I'm gonna wait for you to get back so we can cut in an outro.
Chuck do be shitting. Chuck do be providing.
Chuck do be letting the dogs out the
And
shit.
Chuck do be letting the dogs out to the
I think I
mailman.
gave my mostiest first.
You did.
What was my mostiest?
Your mostiest was, I forget. Yeah,
Was that gay?
get more filming.
Was that gay? No one cared.
We're over it, man.
Jesus Christ. What are we?
Like-
An hour 44.
Oh yeah.
Yee.
Close this up.
I said as soon as he gets back, we'll film an outro. Oh, Smelly, we're gonna get that deer dialed up real quick, boy.
Alright, dogs are outside, but they'll be fine.
The Seaburn just thinks he can adjust himself and then.
Well, I mean, we got our mostiest. We got the mostiest.
Say that on live.
I mean, all in all, as a bunch, 2022 wasn't all that bad.
It wasn't our best. Wasn't our best, but it definitely was not our worst, without a doubt.
Get him, Seaburn. Oh, he did. He got one of them. I don't think he's going to get the beagle, though.
Beagle's running.
Yeah, he's scared of everything. I'm just going to say it was a pretty good year.
All in all, it was a good year.
This is a solid year.
I mean, the beginning of shorts, right?
Good
like
grief.
the YouTube channel popping.
It's come a long way
In a short time.
In a very short time,
Yeah.
and I mean it's been a team. It's cool that the shorts is something that it's not just on one guy to edit the videos and post. The shorts, we're all kind of contributing, and it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, everybody can add to it. Get something good.
Chuck, oh my god.
Gotta give them their treats when they're good.
Chuck be treating.
I don't know how Joe just got that dog inside the house. That's some voodoo magic.
Get in here.
He's got a way with dogs. But
Dog
Anyhow.
whisperer. Hey, listen to me. Oh, you can't run it. You're good.
yeah, we're way deep on this one. Let's wrap it up, boys. It's been good. We got a lot of coolest moments to come.
Blowing his freaking sit the fuck down. Shut the
We're gonna have to edit that out. We got a lot of coolest moments to come, boys.
Timestamp that.
And I think this right here, this end of season, Friendsgiving / podcast to end the season.
Boer Feast was one.
It was something.
The
It
coolest
was-
moment of 2022 was this feast because it was fucking delicious.
100%.
I'm just glad to have you guys. Honestly, we got a great group of dudes. Even the ones that aren't here, past alumni. It's cool that we can sit here and keep doing this after all this time. It really
Mhm.
is.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll drink to that.
Yep. One last caca.
I'll drink to that.
There we go.
Crow always flies. Maybe not in the right direction, but it flies.
Oh, that is good. This is Vodka.
See you in hell.
Peace.
Are you there?
Smelly's bitch.